Hooah.
Yes.
Is that what you remember?
That is what I remember. Y'all sit there.
I think so.
All right.
Got the... Just in case we need... Got the IMDb page queued up.
Outstanding. What is up, interwebs? Big Lou here, Matt, the Cutman, with me as always. And we have just finished rewatching episode 2 of Star Trek Picard, Maps and Legends.
And Legends.
Legends and Maps. Maps and Legends. Obviously on CBS All Access, so if you're not watching it there, then you are watching it illegally, and you should not be doing that. Cutman!
Stop stealing your roommate's password.
Yeah.
God damn it.
This show just keeps getting better and better.
It deepens.
It does. Very,
It's a
very
deep cut.
I'm going to go ahead and start. Normally, I always throw it to you, but I'm going to go ahead and start.
Please.
And I think one of the big things about this show, and I have not watched Discovery, and I think that Discovery does this as well, but one of the big differences in modern Star Trek versus what we're used to seeing in Star Trek is serialized storytelling versus adventure of the week. Uh-huh. And I think this show is so amazingly good at building up, where we're going. They're giving us, building a narrative that's going to continue on through the season and stuff like that.
Indeed.
Do you agree?
Indeed. This is not your father's Star Trek.
No, I absolutely agree with that.
There's not a Gorn every week.
Yes.
Okay, so even though there was quite the throwback to the Gorn planet where Kirk fought the Gorn at the end there, those rocks.
I absolutely did not catch that until I was watching the Ready Room episode where they were Will Wheaton talked to Akiva Goldsmith about it, and they mentioned that, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so
yes, no, this is the long burn.
Yeah.
It's your Game of Thrones style.
Yes, very much so.
It's long drawn out. They first tried this on Deep Space Nine with the Dominion War.
Audiences weren't ready for it back then.
No.
Yeah.
But we're getting a good taste of it now, and I dig it.
Yeah. If we are right now in the golden age of television, if you're one of those people like my father, who I know will never watch this, who says there's nothing good on TV, then you are not...
We know you're secretly watching now, though.
You're not watching the right stuff, because there's so much good stuff out there, and this is one of those things. It's just... when the last Star Trek movie came out, Star Trek Beyond came out, I thought it was a really good movie. Mm-hmm. It did not do very well at the theaters, and that's because they didn't know how to cater to the new audiences. They didn't really know how to transform Star Trek into modern audiences. I think they're getting there. This show, again, I haven't seen Discovery, but from what I've heard, it does a really good job of it as well. But this...
It's a little slightly different style.
Sure.
It's a little more action-adventure-y.
Sure.
And this is a little slower.
Yeah.
But Star Trek is supposed to be smart.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be whiz-bang explosion.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, it's got to make you think.
Yeah.
And this is what this is doing.
Yeah. Speaking of thinking, you thought quite a bit there on your notepad. What do you got there to start us off?
Well, and quite the dichotomy of what I just said. The opening of this was whiz bang explosion.
Yeah.
Very different from the opening of the last one. Wow, it showed what really happened on the Utopia Planitia shipyard.
Yep.
It showed the synths rebelling.
Yeah.
Or were they rebelling, or were they overridden?
It looked to me like they were overridden.
Something happened, and they went in and took care of Mars.
Oh, did they?
And I thought it was interesting that the one that did it, the one that reprogrammed that console, was F8. F8, Fate.
Oh, I didn't even catch that, but
Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know. That is it coincidence? I don't know.
Well, you did say it makes you think, so maybe overthink a little. But it definitely was one of those sequences. It's like as soon as we opened it was on Mars, and I knew that it was 14 years ago. I was like, oh, this is not going to end well.
And on First Contact Day, another throwback to Picard.
Yeah. Well, and also because if you had watched the Children of Mars short trek like we told you to last week, then you would know.
And we know if you haven't.
This was not going to end well, and clearly it didn't. So, whoever the actor was that played F8 did such a great job. He was very, very good casting there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Stop it. Jackass. What else you got there on your list?
So the very next scene, it was Laris.
Mm-hmm. Who, by the way, Laris is my favorite character so far in the show. I gotta love a Romulan with an Irish accent, like you had said.
By the way, are all the Romulans from the UK?
That's one of the things that I have. Well, not that specifically, but it was. Continue on, and I'll get to one of the things that I have to say about
because that. Because Laris has an Irish accent, Narek English, and Lieutenant Rizzo English.
Yeah.
And I do like the them kind of stealing from Star Wars and having the bad guys as having the English accents.
Yes. Yeah. Well, although the Narek's sister is also Romulan, she's just in disguise.
Yeah.
But it's Peyton List, and she's not.
Right.
So.
Right, but in the show, she has the English accent, and she's a bad guy in the show.
Does she have the accent, though?
Oh, yeah.
Did she?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't very well done, I didn't think.
Okay, maybe that's why I didn't notice it.
Stick out in my head. Good-looking girl, not that great at the accents.
Yeah. She should stick to Stupp and Cisco in the Cortex at Star Labs.
Yeah. So anyway. But so we get Larish. I'll have one more. Laris kind of extemporating on the Tal Shiar, and kind of going in. Well, you put the secret in front of everything, where secret really should be in front of everything,
as far as the Romulans are concerned.
Right. What the real secret order is the Zhat Vash.
Yeah. I'm glad you know all these names because I've seen the episodes a couple of times now and I still can't pronounce them. I liked how they kept cutting back and forth between the exposition,
and
them doing the investigation.
Yes,
I thought that was a real cool dichotomy. That way, we weren't just watching people sitting around talking. It was interspersed, and I thought that was done really, really well, because that could have been a really boring scene.
Right. You're not just seeing, techno babble of them investigating the thing, which was cool, by the way.
Yeah.
And then you're also not just hearing her tell a story.
Yeah.
You're going to get kind of interspersed, and that was neat.
Which brings me back to modern storytelling, because we've got two classic Star Trek tropes, which is the technobabble, the convenient brilliance of the her doing the investigation stuff,
right,
and the exposition of them sitting around the briefing room, stuff like that. They combined those scenes and interspersed them together in a very modern way, and I very much appreciated that.
I dug it too.
Yeah.
So the Zhat Vash.
Yes.
We need to know more about them, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah. The first time I watched it, and we're not just going to go through the episode beat by beat, because obviously we're skipping a little bit ahead here. The Zhat Vash reveal at the end, where we find out that who we thought was a Vulcan turns out to be obviously a Romulan in disguise.
Yeah, some admiral in charge of Starfleet.
Commodore, but is a member of the Zhat Vash, and that was, I knew immediately when the white-haired admiral was talking to her. I was like, yeah, no, that's probably someone you shouldn't be talking to.
Right.
Just because of, well, I mean, Vulcans always gave me the heebie-jeebies anyway.
They're so condescending.
Yeah.
So smug.
Condescending means that you talk down to people. Just so you know. Completely lost my train of thought. But no, the first time I watched it, I was like, really, is that where we're going to go with that type of the espionage, infiltrating the high ranks of the Federation and stuff like that? And it made sense because that's what Picard said in the first episode. It was like, it's not the Federation I know, and that makes sense. Upon further reflection, a second viewing, it's like, yeah, of course it's not the Federation you knew, because the Federation, the people that are in charge, are not the people that you would think would be in charge.
Well, now, it makes me wonder, where is Section 31 in all of this?
That's, yeah. We know that show is coming.
Right, but that's set in the past.
Oh, is it?
That's set in Discovery era.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You'll need to watch Discovery in order to catch up on that.
Yes, no, I'm planning on watching Discovery.
But assuming Section 31 is still around in Picard era, and no reason to think that it's not, are they asleep at the wheel?
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Knowing Section 31.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that I do.
Yeah.
As I am a
red shirt specialist. Where's Bashir and all his Section 31 cronies?
He disavowed.
Maybe for good reason.
Going to join what's his name at Section 31. So
yeah.
I always thought that would have been a good show.
That was supposed to be the show.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been. Anyway, moving on. Infiltration of Starfleet is one of the things that I have here. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and how high up that goes, and if that's something that's going to carry on to season 2, or if that's something that gets dealt with, in this season. So, go ahead.
Well, so might I move us off Earth for a moment?
Please.
So onto the Borg cube.
No, I don't want to go onto a Borg cube.
We're there. No, we're there. It's done.
I'm scared.
Well, here we go. No looking back.
Don't look back. Sorry.
So we're onto the Borg cube.
We're
seeing what they're doing.
Obviously we know what they're doing as far as if my planet had been completely wiped out by the solar supernova. Thank you. Then you bet your damn skippiness I'm gonna be taking advantage of every freaking resource.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah.
There was a line in there when they're disassembling one of the drones, and it said that this Borg has been in regenerative stasis for 14 years.
Right, I heard that.
Okay, the supernova hit 10 years ago, which means...
No.
Yeah.
The Utopia Planitia thing was 14 years ago. It said it on the screen.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
No, I thought it was just 10 years ago. If the timeline makes sense, it would just be 14. It wouldn't have been at the same time.
Maybe.
We'll double check it, but
okay. Yeah.
But that would have meant that the Borg cube would have been in Romulan territory prior to the supernova.
Right, yeah, no, that's one of the things that Akiva Goldsmith said in that episode, is that they found it in Romulan space.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have been pulling technology off of this cube for a while before the destruction of Romulus.
Well, yeah, of course. But, I mean, now, even though that, Romulus has been destroyed, even more so now, they're trying to, sustain their people and stuff. So.
Right. But what's interesting, though, is that if I can take us back to the 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Sure, please.
There was this theory that the ship that the Narada, that Captain Nero, the one that goes back in time, there was this theory that it was too advanced for even its time in the 24th century. It had weapons that were even too powerful for that.
Right.
And that maybe it was enhanced with Borg technology. And it's possible, given what we know now, that it was infused with this Borg cubes technology from that time.
I like it.
Because the timelines now sync up.
I like it.
So
I don't think we'll ever get confirmation, but I like it.
No, we probably won't, but the timelines do add up.
Yeah. No, I dig it, and I want to know more about who the chick was that was actually doing the dissection. I want to know more about who she was, and I want to know more about how Narek was able to just... No, I don't need permission. I could just walk right in. I want to know what's his role in the hierarchy, you know? It's like...
Well, he's a member of the Zhat Vash. I'm sure he could get whatever he needs.
Right, no, and I get that. But if the Zhat Vash is supposed to be this super secret organization and stuff like that, what's his cover story?
Yeah.
You know, that's...
True.
You know, what are they telling people and stuff like that? You know, because there's... It's not... I mean, there's, you know, hundreds of different species in there that are all doing their own different research and stuff. So it's like... You know, so...
Now, I did find it humorous that when they were suiting up, and they put the gray thing on, and they're like, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine, and they're strapping on these giant red suits.
Yeah.
That amused me.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to Earth for a moment, if we may. The conversation between Picard and his doctor. Excuse me, when he's getting the medical...
The diagnosis.
The diagnosis and stuff about the thing in his brain. We had talked, you know, do we think that that's leftover remnant from when he was Locutus? You had mentioned that you had read something that you had thought that they had thought it was a remnant from the series finale of TNG when he was jumping back and forth in time and all good things. So run us through that.
So there's a theory that at the end of the Next Gen, during the series finale, Picard was having these possible hallucinations, what everybody thought were hallucinations, but he was really jumping in time.
Yeah.
And Dr. Crusher's explanation for it was that there was something in his brain and in some cortex in his brain that was this dormant thing that was flaring up. And it's possible that this is the same thing that this new doctor that he, you know, from his past is now detecting.
Right. So he obviously makes the implication that Picard has a terminal illness, that he's not going to be, you know, much longer for this world. Do you think that, number one, this series is going to see the death of Picard? Or do we think that part of his motivation, do we think that Picard maybe has a little bit of a death wish? Like he's tired of just, you know, existing in life and ready to just kind of nip it in the bud and be like, you know, I'd rather, you know...
I don't know that it's a death wish per se. I think it's a wish to not be complacent in where he is. I think it's
maybe death wish is the wrong phrase, but maybe go out on his own terms.
Yeah, much more the latter.
Yeah.
He doesn't want just to sit around and tend the grapes and worry about, you know, what insects are on, you know, the Pinot, as he put it.
Yeah.
Pinot is a kind of wine.
It's also a type of grape.
Yes.
So that they make Pinot.
Yeah,
wine.
I got it.
Okay. Just making sure.
I double checked when I was in Italy. Checked all the bottles.
Every single one of them.
So I think he just doesn't want to just waste away. So he wants to, it's not that he just wants one last adventure. He wants to matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Which brings me to my favorite scene in the episode, the confrontation between him and the Admiral, where he goes to Starfleet headquarters and has that meeting.
Yeah.
The look of disgust on her face as he's giving his pitch it's one of the most well acted scenes in the episode, and she's just sitting there, just the gall of this man, and just how dare you come into my office.
Right.
And you would think that Picard would take a hint and stop talking, but we talk all the time. I mean, if you go back and watch some of our reviews of Game of Thrones, the number of times we say the word hubris when we're talking about the villains in Game of Thrones, it's very, very rare that we use the word hubris when we're talking about our heroes. And when we use that word, she even says, the fucking hubris that you have. Uh-huh. And he's just, what? He didn't know how to react. And it was so well acted, both by her and by him. And his, reaction as he's coming down that escalator. And it's like, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, I especially like the lines like, "Now I understand if you want me to demote me to captain, that will be fine."
Yeah, it is. It's just, and it's like the great Jean-Luc Picard, and it's not a villain or a someone who is throwing that in his face, taunting him. It's someone who is actually, in a position of power that he's asking something from, just like, no, you're just a washed up old man. Go home. And he didn't know what to do. It was fascinating to me.
I thought that too, but I also thought this is probably a lot like some of the meetings that some of the lower people in the either FBI or CIA or both had with their superiors prior to like 9/11.
Oh yeah.
And the superiors were like, "Are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Get out!"
Yeah.
And the Admiral just sat there and was thinking, "We're in paradise.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Jean-Luc?
Yeah.
No one can touch us here on Earth.
Yeah.
Look out there."
Yeah. Yeah. He even says it. You're in danger. And she just blows him off. Yeah. But I loved that scene. That was just fantastic. So, last question that I have written down here: who's Raffi?
I thought Raffi was the person at the end.
No, she is.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know.
Oh, okay. So she's not been in an episode of TNG? No. Okay, so it's just another one of the characters.
Oh, this is new.
Okay, cool. I like new.
Yes,
new is good.
This is your J.J. Abrams mystery box right here.
No, I like that they actually addressed. It's like, well, why did you just call Riker or Worf or Geordi? And he's like, no, they do it in a heartbeat, but that's not what this is about. This is I don't want them to just feel like it out of an obligation to me. Yes. I want the person to do this because they believe in the cause, not because they're doing it for me.
Right.
And it just made so much sense from a story standpoint. I like how they were able to justify that this is Picard's show, not Next Gen rebooted.
Right.
Yeah. So I like how they were able to justify that. So what else you got there?
On just a slightly side note, and this is not in your wheelhouse, but it does happen to be the eve of the Super Bowl when we're recording this, and that's why I'm wearing this particular shirt.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay.
It seemed fitting, right?
Sure.
Because San Francisco's playing the Super Bowl.
49ers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go Niners.
So.
They're playing in
Miami.
Okay.
Against the Chiefs.
Right.
So.
That's great. Who are the chefs?
It's you.
Yes, yes, I am the chefs. Anyway, think that's going to wrap it up. Those are our thoughts on Star Trek Picard Episode 2, Maps and Legends. Stay tuned for Episode 3 next week. I'm not sure if we're going to have it out on Friday or Saturday. Probably Saturday, because I think I got stuff going on Friday night. Anyway.
We're busy.
We got lives and stuff.
Right in the middle of something, Ray.
I love that movie so much. Anyway, so go ahead and let us know what your thoughts are on this episode down in the comment section below. You can subscribe to the channel just by clicking right here. We got something else fun for you to watch right here. In the meantime, stay tuned, and we'll see you next week for episode 3 and throughout the summer for other fun stuff. We'll see you then.
I'm busy too, stupid dick.
You should be nicer.